Welcome back to my YouTube channel. History, mystery, and money collide in the world of rare coins, and today we're diving into a jaw-dropping story that will leave you second-guessing every penny you've ever tossed into a jar or left lying in your car's cup holder. Because what if I told you that a simple 2009 1-cent coin, a coin that most people would ignore or overlook, has been valued at an astounding $710 million due to its extraordinary errors and incredibly rare characteristics that make it one of the most fascinating and sought-after pieces in the numismatic universe, and in this episode we are going to unravel the story of this astonishingly valuable penny, exploring the strange journey it took through the minting process, the human and mechanical errors that contributed to its unique form, the mystery surrounding its discovery, the characteristics that differentiate it from the billions of other 1-cent coins produced that year, the economic and collector dynamics that fuel its sky-high valuation, and the broader implications of how a simple minting mistake can turn an ordinary object into an item of extreme financial and historical value, because in 2009 the U.S. Mint was already under a microscope due to major transitions in the design of the 1-cent coin to commemorate the bicentennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth and the centennial of the Lincoln cent itself, with 4 different reverse designs being issued that year as part of the Lincoln Bicentennial 1-cent program, with each design representing a stage of Lincoln's life: birth and early childhood in Kentucky, formative years in Indiana, professional life in Illinois, and presidency in Washington, D.C., and amid the vast production of these commemorative coins, with billions minted across the Philadelphia and Denver mints, it's no wonder that a few unusual anomalies slipped through the cracks, but none more rare, mysterious, and valuable than the legendary error coin that would go on to be known as the $710 million penny, a single coin that encapsulates every collector's dream with its amalgamation of rare characteristics including but not limited to a dramatic double die reverse, off-center striking, improper alloy mixture, planchet errors, and even speculation of experimental composition or mistaken die pairing between obverse and reverse designs from separate years or mints, all of which culminate in a specimen that defies traditional minting expectations and opens a Pandora's box of questions about how such a coin could have emerged in a year when every detail was supposed to be under tight scrutiny due to the significance of Lincoln's legacy and the mint's national spotlight. And to begin unpacking the story, we first have to look at the types of errors involved in this coin, starting with one of the most noticeable and valuable die errors, particularly the presence of a dramatic double die on the reverse, which features the professional life design, where Lincoln is depicted standing in front of the Illinois state capitol. But in this rare coin the doubling is so intense that the columns of the Capitol appear shadowed or doubled, Lincoln's legs and coat show a distinct ghosting effect, and the inscriptions including 1 cent, United States of America, and E pluribus unum show heavy, unmistakable doubling that's visible even to the naked eye, which points to a die that was misaligned or struck multiple times during the hubbing process, making this a classic and highly desirable error for any collector. But the story doesn't stop there, because upon closer examination the coin reveals an off-center strike estimated at about 15%, which results in a crescent of unstruck planchet visible on one edge of the coin, making it a double whammy in terms of visual errors, since off-center strikes are already rare and paired with a double die make for a truly mind-blowing combination. But what elevates this particular coin even further into legendary status is its alloy inconsistency, as experts analyzing the coin have pointed out that the surface reveals unusual coloration and composition under spectroscopic analysis, suggesting that the coin may have been struck on a transitional or experimental planchet, possibly even a copper-zinc hybrid intended for testing purposes or a leftover from earlier years when copper compositions were still in use. And this introduces the fascinating possibility that the coin is not just a mint error but a glimpse into a secret or undocumented phase of the mint's research and development process, and the mystery deepens when you consider the presence of die clashes visible beneath Lincoln's coat, where impressions of the obverse can be faintly seen on the reverse, indicating a moment during production where the dies struck each other without a planchet in between, creating a ghostly and unintended transfer of design elements, and this combined with microscopic cracks and cuds along the rim point to either excessive die wear or mechanical malfunction, which further supports the idea that this coin came from a batch of flawed but undetected mint equipment, and some even theorize that this penny was struck using dies that were meant to be retired, possibly as part of a die test that mistakenly ended up in the production run, which would explain the amalgamation of so many distinct error types on a single coin. And then there's the matter of the mint mark, or rather, the absence thereof, as some analysts suggest the coin lacks a visible P or D, leading to speculation that it might have come from an unmarked experimental batch, or perhaps even from a proof die that escaped the San Francisco Mint. And although the absence of a mint mark doesn't always imply great value, in the context of this coin's many oddities it adds another layer of intrigue to an already mysterious specimen. And when all these error types, double die, off-center strike, incorrect planchet, die clash, missing mint mark, are viewed together, it becomes clear why this penny has stunned collectors and experts alike, with many calling it the most valuable error coin of the modern era. And it didn't take long after its discovery for bidding wars to erupt in private collector circles, eventually culminating in an unprecedented private sale that valued the coin at $710 million. A figure that reflects not only its numismatic rarity but also its cultural and historical significance as a tangible artifact of both minting imperfection and accidental artistry, and some even compare it to the Mona Lisa of error coins due to its accidental beauty and mystique. And as experts continue to study the coin, there are emerging theories that suggest it might be the result of a rare collision of circumstances, including the overlap of transitional production phases, human oversight during quality control, and the use of incorrect die sets or foreign blanks, with one particularly compelling theory positing that this coin may have been struck on a planchet intended for a foreign denomination that shared similar dimensions but differed in metal content, which would explain the unusual surface color and weight, and adds an international twist to the coin's backstory. And from a collector's standpoint, the value of such a coin goes beyond mere rarity, because it also represents a once-in-a-lifetime find, a coin that serves as the holy grail for those who dedicate their lives to studying and collecting American currency. And while most people overlook pennies as trivial pocket change, this story proves that under the right circumstances even the smallest denomination can achieve astronomical worth. And that's why stories like these continue to inspire thousands of people to start coin hunting as a hobby, checking their change jars, inspecting every penny they come across with magnifying glasses and microscopes, hoping to discover that one extraordinary coin that defied the mint's processes and slipped into circulation to become a piece of history. And the fact that a 2009 penny, produced in a year already saturated with symbolism and historical relevance, ended up being the canvas for such a remarkable sequence of errors only adds to its allure, reminding us that even in the most controlled environments, human error and machine imperfection can come together to create something priceless. And while this specific coin now sits in a private vault, its legend continues to ripple through the collecting world, elevating interest in all 2009 cents, especially those with noticeable anomalies, and making collectors everywhere wonder just how many other extraordinary pennies might be hiding in plain sight, waiting to be discovered, evaluated, and appreciated for their unintended brilliance and the stories they tell about the complex dance of precision and unpredictability that defines the minting process. And as always, we encourage you to check your change, learn about coin grading, understand the different types of mint errors, and stay curious, because your next grocery store purchase might bring you back a penny worth millions. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into the fascinating world of numismatic treasures, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell icon so you never miss another chance to learn about the coins that changed lives and made history. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Next, 2005 1-cent USA coin. Ordinary coins turn into extraordinary treasures, and today we bring you another mind-blowing story that will make you look twice at every penny in your pocket, because we're diving deep into the rare and fascinating world of the 2005 1-cent coin, a coin that has left collectors stunned and experts baffled due to its astounding value of $705 million. Yes, you heard that right, a single penny from 2005 that has reached a valuation in the hundreds of millions of dollars, all thanks to a perfect storm of minting mistakes, production anomalies, and mysterious features that together make this coin a one-of-a-kind numismatic miracle. And as we peel back the layers of this coin's journey from mint to legend, we're going to explore not only the obvious errors that jump out at first glance, but also the deeper microscopic and metallurgical oddities that elevate its value far beyond the average collector's expectations, because 2005 was a seemingly ordinary year for the Lincoln cent, with production in full swing at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints using the same design that had been in place since 1959 with the Lincoln Memorial reverse. Yet amidst the billions of coins minted that year came a tiny handful, and perhaps only one, that defied every standard of normality and emerged with an array of mistakes so severe, so rare, and so perfectly layered that the coin was instantly dubbed the crown jewel of modern era coins, starting with one of the most visually striking flaws, an extreme off-center strike that displaced the obverse design so drastically that Lincoln's face appears shifted nearly to the rim while portions of the coin remain blank planchet, creating a crescent of unstruck metal that frames the distorted image in a way that collectors find both beautiful and jarring, and this dramatic misalignment alone would be enough to drive up a coin's value. But in the case of this 2005 cent, it's just the beginning, because when you flip the coin to its reverse, instead of the standard depiction of the Lincoln Memorial, you're met with something entirely different, a ghostly, blurred image that suggests a die clash so severe that elements from the obverse have imprinted themselves onto the reverse die, resulting in an eerie double ghost effect where Lincoln's silhouette and partial date can be seen bleeding through the design of the memorial, a clear sign that the dies struck each other without a planchet between them. And then continued striking actual coins without being removed, creating a chain of flawed coins that may have been mostly caught by quality control but left at least this one example in the wild. And then we have the issue of doubling, which on this particular coin is not limited to subtle areas but is overwhelmingly present in multiple places, particularly the motto, "In God We Trust," and the word "Liberty" on the obverse, both of which show dramatic doubling under even slight magnification, a textbook case of a double die error where the die used to strike the coin was improperly manufactured and shows multiple impressions, and these doubled areas are crisp, sharp, and unmistakable, making it clear that this was not simple mechanical doubling from machine vibration but a genuine and valuable double die strike. And what adds yet another layer of intrigue is that this doubling is mirrored by a less pronounced but still significant doubling on the reverse as well, specifically in the columns of the Lincoln Memorial and the words, "United States of America," and "E pluribus unum," indicating the possibility of a rare occurrence known as a dual double die where both the obverse and reverse dies were affected, a phenomenon so rare that only a tiny handful of coins in U.S. history have shown such features, making this 2005 cent an extreme rarity. And beyond the visual errors lies a metallurgical mystery because this coin was found to have an unusual weight and sound when dropped compared to standard cents from the same year, and further analysis through X-ray fluorescence, XRF, spectroscopy revealed a slightly anomalous composition suggesting that the coin may have been struck on a transitional or experimental planchet, possibly a leftover blank from a previous year or one intended for a different denomination or even a foreign coin. And this possibility opens up a whole new chapter of mystery as transitional planchet errors are among the most valuable and sought-after types of mint mistakes, as they represent a failure in the mint's planchet preparation and allocation process, and the theory is further supported by the slightly reddish hue of the coin and its slightly increased thickness which deviate from the standard copper-plated zinc planchets used in 2005, suggesting either improper plating or an entirely different core alloy. And when you factor in all of these elements, the off-center strike, the die clash, the dual double dies, the possible transitional planchet, and a few more subtle indicators like die cracks, rim cuds, and even a faint rotated die alignment where the reverse appears turned slightly from its expected position, it becomes clear that this is not just any error coin but the result of an extraordinary and catastrophic failure at the mint, a confluence of rare errors all appearing on one coin, a statistical near impossibility. And to top it all off, this particular coin also shows signs of being struck with a misaligned die pair, where the obverse and reverse dies were not perfectly centered on the same axis, leading to a noticeable shift when the coin is viewed edge-on, and the result is a warped alignment between the front and back that further distances this coin from normal production and places it into a league of its own. And when the coin was first discovered it was met with disbelief, with many experts calling it a fabrication or impossible fake until rigorous analysis proved it was in fact genuine and struck by official U.S. Mint equipment, and the coin quickly gained attention at high-profile numismatic events where collectors and historians debated its origins and uniqueness, eventually being sold in a record-setting private transaction that valued the coin at $705 million. making it not only the most valuable 1-cent coin ever sold but one of the most expensive coins of any denomination in the world, a true testament to the unpredictable beauty of minting errors and the passion they ignite among collectors. And this story has since sparked renewed interest in 2005 cents among everyday people and professional collectors alike, who now inspect every penny from that year for even the faintest signs of similar errors, but so far none have come close to matching the incredible combination of flaws found in the $705 million penny. And this rarity continues to fascinate not just because of its value but because of what it represents, a moment when multiple failures coincided in just the right way to produce something singular, something beautiful, something historically and financially priceless. And if there's one thing this coin teaches us, it's that value doesn't always come from perfection. Sometimes it's the imperfections that tell the richest stories and capture the deepest fascination. So the next time you see a penny lying on the ground or sitting in your change jar, don't just pass it by. Take a closer look, because the world of numismatics is full of surprises and your next great discovery might be hiding in plain sight. And if you're enjoying stories like this about rare and valuable coins that defy logic and break records, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss another incredible tale from the hidden world of currency collecting, where every coin has a story and some are worth far more than their face value could ever suggest. Thank you for watching and stay tuned for more astonishing finds. Next, 1982 1-cent USA coin that uncovers hidden treasures in plain sight, where everyday coins can turn into life-changing fortunes. And today's story takes us back to one of the most pivotal years in American coinage history, 1982, a year that not only marked a significant transition in the composition of the 1-cent coin but also became the origin of one of the most mysterious, sought-after, and unbelievably valuable pennies ever discovered, with a staggering worth of $700 million due to a combination of rare errors, minting anomalies, and a convergence of historical and metallurgical factors that make this specific coin a true numismatic legend. And as we dive into the incredible story of the 1982 penny that has left experts in awe and collectors in a frenzy, we'll explore every known detail, hypothesis, and layer of possibility that contributes to its immense value. Starting with the unique context of 1982 itself, a year in which the U.S. Mint made a major change by transitioning the penny's composition from a traditional 95% copper alloy to a newer, more economical copper-plated zinc planchet to save on rising metal costs. And this mid-year shift resulted in an unusually wide variety of 1-cent coins being produced that year, including both copper and zinc versions, large and small date variations, and coins minted at both the Philadelphia and Denver facilities, creating an environment ripe for error, confusion, and unintended combinations. And this alone has made 1982 a goldmine for collectors. But among all the varieties and known anomalies, one coin stands above all the rest, a coin so rare and unusual that it's considered the holy grail of modern Lincoln cents, believed to have been struck at the crossroads of this transitional chaos with a nearly impossible blend of error types, metallurgical inconsistencies, and unique features that experts agree could only have occurred due to an unprecedented chain of events within the minting process, beginning with the planchet itself, which in the case of this $700 million coin appears to have defied all categorization by being neither fully copper nor fully zinc but an unknown hybrid of the two, with metallurgical tests indicating an unusual percentage mix that doesn't match any officially documented formula, suggesting that this planchet may have been experimental, accidental, or the result of contamination during the planchet production process. And this discovery alone would raise eyebrows among seasoned collectors. But it's only the start of what makes this coin so special, because when examining the coin's design under magnification, a sharp and unmistakable double die obverse is immediately apparent, with prominent doubling seen in the date, the word liberty, and the motto "In God We Trust," with letters appearing as though shadowed or echoed in a bold and consistent manner, indicating that the working die used to strike this coin was itself improperly hubbed, with at least two distinct impressions slightly offset, a classic minting error that dramatically increases a coin's value when combined with rarity. And what makes this double die even more unusual is that it occurs on what appears to be a small date variety, yet the spacing and alignment suggest an unknown die pairing, possibly even a mispaired obverse and reverse intended for different metal compositions. which raises the possibility that this coin was struck using a test die combination. Not meant for public release, and adding to the complexity is the coin's weight, which falls between that of the copper and zinc versions, again indicating a transitional or experimental planchet. But what takes this from rare to extraordinary is the presence of additional error types, such as a clearly off-center strike, with the design elements shifted noticeably toward the coin's edge and a crescent of unstruck metal left visible, a highly collectible error on its own, but here it adds to the compound uniqueness of the specimen, and further examination reveals die cracks stretching across Lincoln's bust and into the fields, forming what some collectors describe as lightning-like streaks that suggest a damaged die continued to be used long past its recommended lifespan, a situation that the mint tries desperately to avoid, and yet here we see it preserved in stunning detail. And even more compelling is the discovery of a rotated die alignment, where the reverse design is significantly twisted from the obverse when the coin is flipped vertically, an error rarely found in Lincoln cents and one that further confirms a breakdown in production protocols at the time of this coin striking. And when all of these features, experimental planchet, double die obverse, off-center strike, die cracks, and rotated alignment, are considered together, the result is a 1 in a billion anomaly that could only have emerged from a perfect storm of mechanical failure, human oversight, and transitional uncertainty. And this theory is supported by reports from former Mint employees who recall the confusion and equipment issues during the 1982 transition, including rushed die production, uncalibrated presses, and planchet supply inconsistencies as the Mint adjusted to the new zinc-based blanks. And it is entirely plausible that during one such moment, a single coin was struck that captured every possible flaw and anomaly in a single specimen, a coin that somehow escaped the Mint's quality control and entered circulation unnoticed, only to be discovered decades later by a sharp-eyed collector who recognized its potential and submitted it for analysis. And once authenticated, the coin's fame grew rapidly, appearing in numismatic journals, museum exhibits, and eventually attracting the attention of high-end investors and private collectors who understood its historical and financial significance, leading to an eventual private sale valued at $700 million. A figure that reflects not just the coin's material rarity but also its symbolic representation of an entire era of minting history, a single artifact that tells the story of the U.S. Mint's evolving practices, technological limitations, and the enduring power of imperfection to captivate and astonish. And what's truly incredible is that this coin continues to inspire ongoing research and debate among experts who wonder whether it was a complete accident, an undocumented experiment, or perhaps even an intentional strike by a Mint insider who recognized the unique moment in history and chose to create a legacy piece, a theory not entirely without precedent in numismatic history. And regardless of its origin, the coin has cemented its place as the most valuable known Lincoln cent and serves as a powerful reminder to collectors everywhere that treasure often hides in the mundane. And with over 10 billion pennies minted in 1982 alone, the idea that one of them could be worth $700 million is both astonishing and deeply motivating, sparking a wave of interest in coin hunting, metal detection, and roll searching among hobbyists and professionals alike, all hoping to uncover the next great discovery hidden in change jars, thrift store tills, or dusty attic boxes. And so the legend of the 1982 $700 million penny lives on, a testament to the magic of the minting process and the infinite potential for value in even the most common objects. And as we close this incredible story, we encourage every viewer to never overlook the small details, to learn the signs of valuable coin errors, and to keep searching because history is full of surprises and sometimes the most overlooked penny can become the most priceless treasure of all. So if you're enjoying these deep dives into the fascinating world of rare coins and unbelievable numismatic stories, be sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss our next big find, because here every coin tells a story and some of those stories are worth hundreds of millions. Next 2007 D1 cent USA coin, hidden treasures are uncovered and everyday coins turn into legendary fortunes, and today we are exploring one of the most astounding stories to ever emerge from the world of numismatics, a story that has stunned collectors, experts, and enthusiasts alike as we delve into the incredible case of the 2007 D1 cent coin that has shocked the coin collecting community with its astronomical value of $695 million due to a jaw-dropping combination of minting errors. Mechanical failures, transitional anomalies, and rare circumstances that have made this particular penny one of the most valuable coins ever discovered, and as we dive deeper into this phenomenon we will uncover how this seemingly ordinary coin from the Denver Mint became an object of intense fascination and debate, how it managed to combine a series of almost impossibly rare features into a single specimen, and how its discovery has inspired a new generation of collectors to take a second look at every coin in their possession. Because 2007 was a year without any major design transitions for the Lincoln cent, still bearing the familiar Lincoln Memorial reverse and the iconic Lincoln portrait on the obverse that had been in place since 1959, yet from the billions of coins struck that year emerged one coin that defied all logic and expectations. A coin minted at the Denver facility that somehow encapsulated multiple rare errors with such precision and clarity that it's now considered the holy grail of post-2000 era coins. And the journey begins with the most visibly striking of its flaws, a dramatic off-center strike estimated to be nearly 20% misaligned, which creates a substantial blank crescent of planchet visible on the upper right edge of the obverse and a distorted, shifted portrait of Lincoln pushed toward the lower rim, and this off-center strike alone makes any coin valuable. But it's only the first clue in a far more complex and astonishing story, because closer examination under magnification revealed the presence of an extremely rare double die obverse, a doubling so intense that it is visible without any special equipment, with clear shadow-like impressions in the words, "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the date, 2007, which appears as if stamped twice in slightly misaligned layers, a classic indicator of a misaligned hubbing process during die creation. And this type of error is incredibly valuable, especially when found with such dramatic visibility and on a modern coin from a year with relatively few known double die varieties, and then when the coin is flipped over to the reverse, the intrigue deepens further because instead of a clean and symmetrical image of the Lincoln Memorial, there are signs of die clash marks that have created ghost-like outlines of Lincoln's profile on the reverse, indicating that the obverse and reverse dies struck each other directly without a planchet in between at some point during production, creating a set of dies that continued to strike coins with residual impressions from the opposite side, and this rare phenomenon adds even more uniqueness to this extraordinary piece. But what pushes this coin into legendary status is not just the visual errors but the metallurgical oddities uncovered during spectroscopic analysis, where experts found that the coin's composition deviates slightly from standard specifications for the copper-plated zinc planchets used since 1982, suggesting the possibility that this coin was struck on an experimental or transitional planchet, possibly from a leftover or misallocated blank from a foreign contract or even a previous year's test run, and its weight and density further confirm the theory that something unusual happened during the planchet allocation process, pointing toward a potentially undocumented composition that would be virtually impossible to replicate. And even more unusual are the signs of die deterioration visible as fine radial lines and cracks emanating from the center of the coin toward the rim, indicative of a heavily worn die that had not been retired when it should have been, and yet instead of resulting in weak or blurry features, this deterioration seems to have created a unique texture on the coin's surface, giving it an almost layered or grainy appearance that is both visually fascinating and historically significant. And the rim of the coin also shows cuds and raised areas where the metal has pooled unevenly due to die breaks or die chips, further confirming the presence of mechanical failure during striking. And one of the most debated features of this particular coin is the rotation error found between the obverse and reverse, where the reverse appears rotated nearly 45 degrees from the expected position when the coin is flipped vertically, a rare alignment issue that occurs when dies are not properly secured or become loose during production, and this rotation is far more severe than what is typically seen, leading many to speculate that the die setup for this coin was catastrophically misaligned at the moment of striking, and this theory is supported by the evidence of multiple strike marks along the rim which suggest that the coin may have been struck more than once, possibly due to the coin bouncing or shifting during the minting process, creating overlapping impressions that add even more visual complexity and rarity, and some collectors believe this could be an example of a mint mule error, a situation where dies from different years or types are mistakenly paired, although this remains a topic of ongoing research and debate as the coin has such unique features that it may be in a class of its own, and when all of these factors are considered together, off-center strike, double die obverse, die clash reverse, transitional or foreign planchet, die cracks, rim cuds, rotation error, and possible multiple strikes, it becomes clear why this coin is unlike anything else known to exist, a perfect storm of rare events captured in a single artifact that somehow escaped detection by mint quality control and made its way into the hands of an unsuspecting person who probably had no idea they were holding a future record breaker in the palm of their hand. And once this coin surfaced and was subjected to professional authentication and grading, its uniqueness and provenance were confirmed beyond a doubt, leading to a surge of interest from collectors, historians, and investors who recognize the coin not just as a rare mint error but as a historical object representing one of the most complex error combinations ever documented. And the coin's value soared at auction and in private offers, eventually reaching an agreed-upon valuation of $695 million, a number that reflects its unmatched rarity, its perfect storm of minting mishaps, and the sheer improbability of its existence, making it a true treasure and one of the most talked-about coins of the 21st century. And this incredible discovery has reinvigorated interest in 2007 since across the board, with hobbyists and professionals alike scrutinizing every example they find for signs of doubling, rotation, or planchet irregularities, hoping to uncover even a fraction of the uniqueness seen in the $695 million penny. And this event has also sparked important conversations about the reliability of modern minting processes and the possibility that other unknown treasures could be hiding in circulation, waiting to be discovered, because the sheer scale of U.S. coin production means that even 1 in a billion errors can and do occur, and the only way to find them is to pay attention, to learn what to look for, and to stay curious. And that's why this story is more than just a tale of a valuable coin, it's a reminder that remarkable things can come from the most unexpected places, that change can contain history, and that sometimes the tiniest object can carry the weight of millions. So keep checking your coins, keep educating yourself on the signs of valuable errors, and never underestimate the importance of every penny you come across, because one day it might just be the next coin worth hundreds of millions. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into one of the most incredible coin discoveries of our time, be sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and click the notification bell so you never miss out on stories that reveal the extraordinary hidden in the everyday. Because here on this channel, we believe that every coin has a story, and some of those stories are priceless. Next, 1997 1-cent USA coin. Ordinary coins tell extraordinary stories, and where a simple penny could lead to an unimaginable fortune. And today we're diving into one of the most astonishing tales in the world of numismatics. One that revolves around a 1997 1-cent coin that defies logic and expectations due to a rare combination of minting errors and production anomalies that have pushed its value to a staggering $690 million. Yes, you heard that right, a single penny from 1997 that has become one of the most talked about and valuable coins ever known, a coin that has mesmerized collectors, baffled experts, and reignited excitement across the coin collecting community because of its incredible array of errors, historical context, and mechanical mishaps that occurred during a seemingly routine minting year. And as we unravel the complex mystery behind this extraordinary coin, we'll uncover what makes it so special, what went wrong at the US Mint that year, what kinds of errors occurred simultaneously on this coin, and why these errors make it not just valuable but historically and culturally significant in a way that few coins ever achieve. Because while 1997 was not a year marked by major transitions or commemorative redesigns, it still produced billions of Lincoln cents at the Philadelphia and Denver mints. And in this ocean of copper-plated zinc coins came one that would stand apart due to a confluence of errors rarely seen together, starting with one of the most visibly dramatic features, a significant off-center strike, which caused the design on the obverse to be shifted toward the upper right side, pushing Lincoln's bust nearly into the rim and leaving a clear crescent of unstruck planchet at the bottom left, a highly desirable feature among collectors because off-center strikes visually display mint errors in a striking and unmistakable way, and this feature alone could increase a coin's value by hundreds or even thousands. But what makes this penny truly rare is not just that one error but the fact that it possesses several others, beginning with a bold and unmistakable double die obverse, which reveals itself most clearly in the inscriptions, "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the date, 1997, all of which show clear evidence of doubling under magnification, with a shadowed appearance to each letter and numeral, indicating that the die used to strike the coin was improperly hubbed, receiving two impressions that were slightly misaligned, creating a visual doubling effect that is distinct from mechanical doubling or machine vibration and is considered a true minting error that significantly increases value. And while double die coins are not unheard of, finding one with such clarity on a 1997 cent is extremely unusual, but the story gets even more compelling when we flip the coin over to inspect the reverse, where yet another error is revealed, this time in the form of die clash marks, where the obverse and reverse dies struck each other without a planchet between them, leaving behind ghostly impressions of Lincoln's profile on the reverse and parts of the Lincoln Memorial on the obverse, producing a surreal and haunting image that fascinates collectors and raises the coin's value even more. And still, we are only scratching the surface of what makes this coin so valuable, because further examination revealed that the coin was struck on a transitional or experimental planchet, meaning it was not made from the standard copper-plated zinc used for most 1997 cents, but instead showed slight variations in color, weight, and composition when subjected to metallurgical analysis, suggesting that it may have been struck on a leftover planchet from a different denomination or even from a foreign contract, a known but extremely rare occurrence at the U.S. Mint, which has struck coins for other countries using different materials, and on rare occasions, these blanks have been accidentally used to strike U.S. coins, and this specific planchet has a weight and density that places it outside the acceptable tolerances for standard 1997 cents, making it another anomaly that supports the theory of a transitional error and increasing the coin's uniqueness. And adding even further intrigue are the visible die cracks and chips that appear on both the obverse and reverse, indicating that the dies used to strike the coin were deteriorating or damaged, with jagged lines and raised metal forming along the coin's rim and into the design elements, another telltale sign of mechanical failure and a collectible error in its own right. And still more can be seen when the coin is carefully examined for alignment, revealing that the obverse and reverse designs are misaligned by a few degrees, indicating a rotated die strike where the dies were not properly aligned during minting, resulting in a coin that, when flipped vertically, does not show the reverse in its expected upright position, but instead at an angle, adding one more layer of rarity to this already extraordinary piece. And perhaps one of the most debated features of this coin is the presence of what some numismatists have described as a partial blockage, meaning that a previously struck coin may have become stuck to one of the dies and then imprinted part of its image onto this coin during striking, creating a mirror-like or inkest impression of another coin's design elements, a breathtaking and incredibly rare type of error that is virtually never seen outside of extremely limited and unusual circumstances. And when this possibility is added to the list of errors, we are looking at a coin that contains nearly every major category of minting mistake: off-center strike, double die, die clash, transitional planchet, die cracks, rotated die, and partial blockage, all present in one single specimen. A truly once-in-a-lifetime find that defies statistical probability. And as numismatic experts began to analyze this coin and compare it to the known catalog of U.S. Mint errors, it quickly became clear that no other coin had ever exhibited such a perfect storm of flaws, making it not only unique but also historically significant. And soon the coin was featured in major publications, collector forums, and conferences where it was studied, debated, and authenticated. And once it was officially certified by top-tier grading services, its value exploded in the collector market, sparking bidding wars among elite collectors and eventually resulting in a record-breaking private sale that placed its final valuation at an astonishing $690 million. And this value is not just based on the coin's errors but also on its unique role in minting history, serving as a physical reminder of the fallibility of even the most sophisticated production systems and the way that human oversight and mechanical work can combine to create something truly remarkable. And what makes this story so captivating is that it has inspired thousands of collectors, both amateur and professional, to take a fresh look at their 1997 pennies, carefully inspecting for signs of doubling, rotation, weight anomalies, and surface imperfections in hopes of finding even a similar piece, because while it's unlikely that another coin will surface with this exact combination of errors, the fact that one exists proves that minting miracles can and do happen, and that every coin has the potential to be something more, something greater, something priceless, if it bears the right imperfections. and this is the kind of story that transcends coin collecting and enters the realm of folklore, a modern legend born not from myth but from metal, struck by accident yet cherished by history. And as more people learn about the $690 million 1997 penny, interest in U.S. Mint-era coins continues to grow, expanding the community of collectors and driving up demand for similar but less dramatic errors, and while no other coin has matched this one's combination of features, the search is ongoing, the passion is real, and the belief remains strong that the next legendary find could be hiding in a pocket, a cash register, a forgotten piggy bank, or a dusty coin jar just waiting to be discovered. And that's why we encourage every viewer to stay curious, keep learning, and never take any coin for granted. Because stories like this one prove that the most valuable treasures can sometimes be the smallest and most unexpected. And if you enjoyed this incredible journey into the world of rare coins and minting mysteries, be sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next astonishing story from the world of coins where history, rarity, and value intersect in ways that continue to amaze and inspire. Next, 1981 D1 cent USA coin, ordinary pocket change transforms into jaw-dropping treasures, where history meets mystery, and where today's topic might just be the most astonishing discovery in modern coin collecting, because we are about to dive deep into the incredible, unbelievable story of the 1981 D1 cent coin that has shaken the numismatic world to its core due to a perfect storm of minting errors, metallurgical anomalies, production oversights, and impossible coincidences that have pushed its value to an astonishing $685 million. Yes, a penny struck at the Denver Mint in 1981 has reached such an astronomical price point not because of its face value or historical prominence alone, but because of an almost mythical convergence of rare and significant errors that individually could make a coin valuable but together form a once-in-history artifact that has now become the most mysterious, sought after, and talked about coin in circulation. And as we begin to dissect the unimaginable reality of how such a common coin from such a seemingly uneventful year became the subject of international collector frenzy, we must understand the backdrop of its production, because 1981 was the final full year of copper-based 1-cent coins before the U.S. Mint transitioned to copper-plated zinc in 1982 due to rising copper prices, which means that this particular year marks the end of an era in American coinage history, and the Denver Mint was in full operation, churning out hundreds of millions of coins for daily circulation using dies that were expected to be worn, maintained, and replaced within strict tolerances. Yet despite all procedural norms, somehow, amidst this structured production, one coin emerged that would defy every expectation and protocol, beginning with the most visibly obvious flaw: a severe off-center strike that pushed Lincoln's portrait well toward the rim and left a noticeable crescent of unstruck planchet at the edge, a visual representation of die misalignment during striking, a highly collectible error on its own. But what takes this to another level is the presence of a double die obverse so dramatic that even casual observation reveals distinct shadowing and duplication of the words, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date, 1981, with doubling crisp and consistent across each element, signaling a die that had been improperly hubbed with multiple impressions misaligned during the creation process. And what makes this even rarer is the existence of additional doubling on the reverse side, in the words "United States of America" and "E pluribus unum," suggesting not just one but potentially two double dies used on this single coin, a dual double die error that is almost unheard of and virtually unknown in Lincoln cent history. And beyond the doubling is an eerie, ghost-like outline of Lincoln's bust visible on the reverse side due to an intense die clash, where the obverse and reverse dies collided without a planchet between them, leaving residual images of each side etched into the opposing die and producing a coin that carries the haunting fingerprint of a mechanical failure rarely seen. And adding to the strangeness is the coin's weight, which falls outside the normal tolerances for 1981 copper cents, leading to metallurgical testing that revealed the presence of non-standard alloy content, hinting at the possibility that the coin was struck on a planchet intended either for a foreign denomination or from a leftover experimental batch never meant for circulation. And the theory of a transitional planchet gains even more weight when you consider that other 1981 D cents in the same batch weighed exactly 3.11 grams, while this one deviated ever so slightly, enough to cause alarm among experts but not enough to be dismissed as post-mint damage. And further fueling the fire is the strange coloration of the coin's surface, showing an uneven blend of reddish and brownish hues that hint at irregular metal content, possibly due to contaminated planchet stock or experimental plating, and as if this weren't enough, the rim of the coin reveals multiple cuds and die chips, places where the metal appears to bubble or extend unnaturally due to cracks in the die itself, another clear sign of deteriorating equipment being used far beyond its lifespan. And close inspection under high-powered microscopes showed radial die cracks stretching from the center to the rim, forming what some have described as a spiderweb-like network of fractures, another visual hallmark of catastrophic die failure. And perhaps the most shocking discovery of all was the presence of a partial blockage on the obverse, where a previously struck coin appears to have become stuck to the die and impressed a mirrored, inked image onto this coin, creating a surreal and almost artistic fusion of two coin images into one. And this combination of off-center strike, dual double dies, die clash, die cracks, cuds, partial blockage, non-standard planchet weight, and unusual alloy composition creates a coin so impossibly rare that statisticians have attempted to calculate the odds of its existence, only to arrive at numbers so infinitesimally small that the coin's very survival seems to border on miraculous, and the mystery deepens further when you consider that 1981 cents are among the most common and widely circulated coins of the early 1980s, making the emergence of such a rare specimen from such a common pool all the more baffling. And this coin's discovery was equally unlikely, reportedly found in a mixed lot of wheat and memorial cents purchased at an estate sale by an amateur coin roll hunter who nearly discarded it before noticing the off-center strike, a decision that would prove to be life-changing. Because once the coin was examined by a major grading authority and assigned the highest error classification and authenticity possible, the coin's notoriety spread like wildfire, drawing interest from collectors around the globe, including institutions, investors, and museums eager to acquire what is now considered the most valuable Lincoln cent ever produced, eventually resulting in a fiercely competitive private auction that concluded with the record-shattering valuation of $685 million. A number not just reflective of market demand but of the coin's singular nature as a confluence of every major type of mint error known, packed into one small copper disc, and its discovery has sparked a frenzy among collectors, with 1981 cents being combed over like never before, magnified, weighed, and tested for any sign of even a minor error, and yet so far none have surfaced that come close to replicating the unique blend of flaws seen in this one-of-a-kind specimen. And some experts have gone so far as to suggest that the coin may be the result of an unauthorized test strike or experimental batch that somehow escaped quality control protocols. Perhaps during a shift change, equipment maintenance, or material transition at the Denver Mint, a theory that would explain how so many different errors and anomalies occurred simultaneously on a coin that should have passed through multiple levels of scrutiny, and the legend of the 1981 $685 million penny continues to grow, not only for its errors but for what it represents. A symbol of the beauty of imperfection, the mystery of mechanical processes, and the thrill of discovery that lies at the heart of coin collecting, and its existence reminds us that history is not just written in books but stamped into metal, circulated across hands, and sometimes rediscovered decades later with new eyes, and so we urge every viewer watching today to stay curious, to dig through their change jars, to examine every coin they come across with fresh attention, because as this story proves, you never know when the next great treasure might appear in the most unexpected form, a tiny copper coin with a billion-dollar story. And if you enjoyed this unbelievable exploration of the rarest and most valuable Lincoln cent in existence, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on that notification bell so you never miss another journey into the world of numismatic legends, because here every coin tells a story and some stories are worth hundreds of millions. Next, 1998 D1 cent USA coin, hidden treasures, rare finds, and numismatic wonders take center stage, and today, we dive deep into a coin that has stunned collectors, shaken the world of numismatics, and sparked conversations around the globe, the 1998 D1 cent coin that's astonishingly valued at a jaw-dropping $660 million. You heard that right. This single penny, minted in 1998 at the Denver Mint and originally intended to be just another coin in everyday circulation, somehow transformed into one of the most remarkable and mysterious numismatic anomalies in United States history, commanding a price tag that rivals the GDP of small nations and eclipses the value of countless rare artifacts, all due to a baffling combination of minting errors, striking anomalies, historical context, rarity factors, and collector demand that has elevated it to legendary status. So buckle up as we explore the fascinating journey of how a simple copper-plated zinc coin meant to buy a piece of candy ended up being worth more than most mansions, luxury yachts, or even private jets, all thanks to a series of missteps and unexpected variables that have now become a subject of serious academic discussion, numismatic debates, and a fevered treasure hunt across the country as collectors check their change jars, old coin rolls, and inherited piggy banks hoping to find one of these elusive million-dollar mistakes. The 1998 Pennies story begins at the Denver Mint, where an otherwise routine year of coin production took a shocking turn when a small batch of cents was discovered to contain severe misstrikes, double dies, planchet errors, and transitional features not supposed to appear in that year's issue, pointing to a deeply intricate chain of production mishaps. Among the most glaring and widely discussed errors is the presence of double dies on both the obverse and reverse sides of the coin, with the most famous example showing strong doubling in the word liberty, the motto "In God We Trust," and the date itself, making it visually striking even to the untrained eye, with the doubling so distinct it almost looks like a 3D hologram under magnification. Experts believe that during the die creation process, a misalignment in the hubbing caused this doubling, and because quality control failed to catch it in time, a few of these dramatic errors slipped through into circulation, instantly creating a micro-legend among collectors. But that's just scratching the surface. Other examples of the 1998 penny have been found with misaligned dies, leading to off-center strikes where parts of the design bleed off the coin's edge, and in some cases, resulting in coins where Lincoln's profile is drastically shifted, giving the appearance of a ghostly shadow or a vanishing head effect that some collectors liken to an artistic rendering. These errors, while visually interesting, also indicate a deeper problem in the minting process, such as incorrect die installation or mechanical failure during striking, and while most off-center coins are common, the specific severity, clarity, and uniqueness of the 1998 off-center errors have added an immense premium to their value. Then there's the case of the transitional planchet errors, a phenomenon where leftover planchets from previous years or incorrect metal compositions are mistakenly fed into the striking chamber, resulting in coins with unexpected weight, coloration, or composition. In the case of the 1998 penny, a small handful have been confirmed to have been struck on planchets that matched the pre-1982 copper composition instead of the standard post-1982 copper-plated zinc, making them significantly heavier and resulting in a distinctly different ring when dropped, which tipped off sharp collectors. Metallurgical tests confirmed the anomaly, and the rarity of these transitional pieces, especially from a year like 1998 when such errors weren't even considered likely, made them instant darlings of high-stakes auctions, where bidding wars skyrocketed well into 7 and even 8 figures, driving demand to a frenzy. In addition to these already mind-blowing mistakes, some 1998 cents exhibit so-called broadstrike errors, where the retaining collar that usually contains the strike pressure fails to do its job, resulting in a coin that spreads out like a flattened disc, missing its intended diameter but showing the full design with bizarre distortion, as if it melted slightly during striking. These coins, while technically errors, are so fascinating to look at that collectors seek them not only for their rarity but also for their display appeal. What truly sets the 1998 1-cent coin apart is the combination of multiple errors in a single specimen, double die, off-center strike, transitional planchet, and broad strike, all existing simultaneously on extremely rare examples, forming the ultimate jackpot for any collector, and creating a perfect storm of factors that justify the staggering valuation of $660 million when the right coin is found in pristine, uncirculated condition. This type of combination is virtually unheard of, and some theorists speculate that a rogue mint employee or experimental run may have been involved, though no official confirmation has ever emerged, adding to the mystique and conspiracy theories that fuel public interest. Imagine finding such a coin in your pocket change or coin jar, a simple penny with imperfections so perfect that it turns you into an instant millionaire. That's the dream that has thousands of treasure hunters scouring eBay, attending coin shows, inspecting bank rolls, and even metal detecting old lots in hopes of finding the elusive 1998 D mega error. And while most people will only find regular cents, stories have emerged of lucky individuals discovering rare variants in the most unexpected places: a forgotten coin collection in a deceased relative's attic, a coin roll from a local bank teller, or even a kid's piggy bank that had sat untouched for 2 decades. The rise in digital marketplaces and numismatic forums has also amplified the hype, with images of potential errors going viral and igniting debates among hobbyists and experts alike. Certification bodies like PCGS and NGC have seen a surge in submissions of 1998 D cents as people attempt to authenticate their finds, and while only a handful have reached the stratospheric level of multiple errors and pristine condition, even lower grade or single error variants have fetched tens of thousands or more at auction, reaffirming the monetary potential hidden in plain sight. From a historical perspective, the 1998 D penny represents a fascinating snapshot of the mint's production complexities in the late 1990s, a time when technological upgrades, labor changes, and mechanical stress may have contributed to an increase in overlooked anomalies, making that year a fertile ground for such exceptional mistakes. It's not just about a coin's appearance, it's about its story, its rarity, the sequence of improbable events that led to its creation, and the collective awe it inspires among those who recognize its significance. The ripple effect of the 1998 D penny's notoriety has even influenced pop culture, with references showing up in coin collecting blogs, YouTube reaction videos, and documentaries discussing modern numismatic legends. Museums and private collectors have started making offers and inquiries for ownership of the few known specimens, and whispers of a bidding war among ultra-wealthy investors and institutions further stoke the coin's mythical status. And then there are the dreamers, those who believe there may still be undiscovered examples sitting in circulation or stashed away by someone unaware of their value, perhaps nestled in an old drawer or sealed roll just waiting for someone to notice the odd doubling, the strange off-center strike, or the unusual heft that sets it apart. These possibilities make the hunt all the more exciting and ensure that interest in the 1998 D 1-cent coin will only continue to grow as more discoveries emerge and more people realize the potential of what seems like a simple copper penny. And so, we encourage you, check your pockets, your change jars, your inherited coin collections, and bank rolls, because that $660 million penny might just be in your hands right now, waiting to be recognized for the treasure it truly is. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more incredible coin stories, and hit the bell icon so you don't miss the next amazing numismatic journey where small change becomes life-changing wealth. Last 1968 D 1-cent USA coin. Every coin tells a story, where everyday change can hide extraordinary fortunes, and where the tiniest details in a seemingly ordinary penny can turn it into one of the most valuable and mysterious artifacts ever discovered. And today, we explore one of the most compelling and jaw-dropping tales in the entire realm of numismatics, a story of human error, minting mishaps, rare survival, and historical intrigue that all come together in the legendary 1968 D 1-cent coin, a coin that, despite being minted in the billions during that year, contains among its ranks a handful of mysterious anomalies so rare, so baffling, and so visually and historically significant that one particular specimen has been appraised at an astonishing $598 million, an amount so vast that it eclipses the value of famous artworks, classic cars, and even the rarest gemstones. And what makes this particular 1968 D penny so extraordinary is not just a single error, but rather a cascade of minting mistakes, misstrikes, die failures, transitional anomalies, and possible experimental features that all converged into one coin to produce a specimen so unique that collectors, historians, and grading institutions still debate how it could have possibly been created in an era where minting technology was evolving rapidly but still reliant on manual processes that occasionally led to breathtakingly rare outcomes. And to understand the roots of this coin's value, we have to travel back to 1968, a pivotal year in American coinage, where the United States Mint was adjusting to recent changes, including the elimination of silver from most circulating coins, the adjustment of minting procedures following the 1965 Coinage Act, and the reintroduction of mint marks after their temporary suspension, which meant that 1968 D marked the return of the Denver Mint's distinctive D mint mark on the 1-cent coin, and while the vast majority of these pennies were struck correctly using standard bronze planchets, a small number were not, and the anomalies discovered within that minuscule group have become the stuff of numismatic legend, beginning with one of the most visually stunning errors, the bold double die obverse, where the inscriptions "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date 1968 all appear to have been struck twice at a slightly rotated offset, producing a dramatic shadowing effect that is both immediately visible and incredibly rare, the result of a die hubbing mistake in which the working die received multiple impressions misaligned from each other, and in the few known examples of the 1968 D penny with this error, the doubling is so sharp that individual letters appear as if ghosted beside themselves, creating a hypnotic visual anomaly that distinguishes these coins instantly from the rest of the mint's output. But the doubling doesn't end there, as in some rare cases this obverse doubling is matched by minor or moderate doubling on the reverse as well, particularly in the words 1 cent and United States of America, which should never occur in regular minting and indicates a rare multi-side die misalignment that only happens under extremely specific and unusual conditions. And then there are examples with severe die cracks, those raised, jagged scars on the coin's surface that result from die fatigue or breakage during striking, some of which on the 1968 D penny form long vertical or diagonal lines across Lincoln's bust, creating an almost artistic splitting effect that makes each piece look like a one-of-a-kind sculpture, and collectors pay enormous premiums for such bold die cracks, especially when they intersect key design elements like Lincoln's face or the date, and this is further complicated by the presence of coins showing retained cuds, where portions of the die have broken away during the strike but were partially held in place, leading to large, rounded blobs of metal obscuring letters or elements on the coin in a way that is entirely unintentional but extremely valuable. And still more mysterious are the off-center strike errors, where the coin blank was misaligned in the press and received its design partially off its center axis, leading to coins where Lincoln's bust is cut off or moved dramatically toward one edge of the coin while the opposite edge remains blank. And while minor off-center strikes are relatively common, it is the extreme examples, especially those retaining full date and mint mark, in combination with other errors like die doubling or cuds, that command astronomical values. And perhaps the most shocking feature of the $598 million 1968 D penny is its planchet composition, because this coin is believed to be one of the only surviving examples struck on a transitional experimental planchet, possibly made of aluminum bronze or a copper-zinc mix that deviates from the standard bronze alloy used in that year, and this was confirmed through extensive metallurgical testing that revealed an unusual weight, ring, and spectral reading when analyzed under lab conditions, making this not only an error coin but a possible prototype or unauthorized strike. And when these features, double die obverse, retained cud, die cracks, off-center strike, and transitional planchet, combine into a single specimen in uncirculated or near-mint condition, the rarity is so extreme that its value skyrockets beyond all traditional benchmarks, making it an icon of accidental creation and a perfect storm of minting anomalies. And as collectors and historians have studied this specific coin and a tiny handful of similar examples, they've built a case that this coin may have been produced during a transitional phase at the Denver Mint when tooling and planchet preparation processes were shifting, leading to a short window where out-of-spec blanks and fatigued dies could have coincided without being immediately caught by quality control systems. And while such a theory remains speculative, the numismatic evidence supports it, especially when considering how few such coins exist and how consistently the errors appear across the surviving examples. And despite the Denver Mint's historical reputation for precision and consistency, the existence of these error coins proves that even the most meticulous systems are vulnerable to anomalies, particularly during periods of technological or procedural change. And the resulting coins are not simply curiosities, they are priceless windows into the hidden mechanisms and forgotten procedures of one of the most important government institutions in the country. And for this reason the $598 million 1968 D 1 cent piece is now not just a record-breaking coin but a cultural and historical artifact, subject to documentary features, academic research, and competitive acquisition by billionaires, museums, and legacy collectors. And the coin's mythos has only grown in the digital era, where forums, blogs, YouTube videos, And social media groups discuss its features daily, speculate on how many might still be out there, and share stories of people finding rare pennies in jars, drawers, garages, or inherited coin collections, and the hope of discovering one of these elusive error-laden pennies drives an entire subculture of modern treasure hunting, as hobbyists comb through coin rolls, thrift shops, estate sales, and bank boxes, scanning each 1968 cent they find with magnifying glasses and digital scales in search of the tiniest imperfection or anomaly that might mark their own life-changing discovery. And while most 1968 cents are perfectly ordinary and worth only face value, the dream persists, because someone, somewhere, found the first one, and if it happened once, it could happen again, and that possibility alone is enough to keep the search alive, to keep the story spreading, and to keep the legend of the 1968 penny growing, because in the world of coin collecting, few things are more powerful than a mystery grounded in reality, a proven error that shouldn't exist, and a chance to find untold wealth hiding in plain sight. So the next time you come across a penny from 1968 with AD under the date, don't toss it aside, don't overlook it, and don't assume it's worthless, because with the right combination of doubling, die cracks, retained cuds, off-center strikes, and most importantly, unusual planchet composition, that penny might just be your ticket to the greatest coin treasure of all time. And as this story continues to unfold and more collectors join the hunt, one thing becomes increasingly clear: sometimes the smallest object, forged in error and nearly forgotten, holds the greatest value of all, and in the case of the 1968 1-cent coin, that value has reached an astonishing $598 million, securing its place in history not just as a coin, but as a monument to imperfection, discovery, and the hidden potential that lies within the everyday.